Welcome everyone to today's webinar, Headless Websites 101, the essentials for every digital and creative professional. We have a 40-minute session, 35 minutes of content and 5 minutes Q&A at the end. This webinar is brought to you by the Network One and our new digital partner, SiteBox. I'm Alfie. I'm the Communications Events Manager at the Network One, and I'll be moderating today's webinar. We are joined by the team at SiteBox, Elliot, Keisha, Max, Paul, Rich Watts, and Stuart Toffs of Lemon Hive. I will let everyone introduce themselves shortly. A few housekeeping notes. The webinar will be recorded and is being recorded now and will be shared with you all on YouTube for those wishing to revisit later. If you have any questions, use the Q&A box throughout the webinar, and the team at SiteBox will answer those at the end. By signing up to the webinar, you agree to share your details with the team at SiteBox. They'll only contact you regarding today's webinar and the new exclusive benefits from SiteBox, which Rich Watts and his team will highlight during today's session. So from now, I will pass you over to Rich and the team at SiteBox.
Thanks, Alfie, and thanks, Helen and Julian, for bringing us on board as a partner. We're really excited to work with the Network One agencies and see how we can help you with your digital experiences. So today is the first of hopefully a number of different webinars we'll be putting out to the Network One community. Today's 101 is really about headless websites, and the team are going to talk you through three key areas. First of all, we're going to explore the headless ecosystem. What does that look like in terms of offering of product to agencies and clients? Secondly, how can you use headless and how might it affect your wider team delivery processes such as design, UX, SEO, development, the buzzword of AI? How does that fit into this experience? And then third of all, how can you get started? What are the quick wins that your team could be making to use a number of different routes to market? So obviously our focus today is very much around the WordPress experience, but we do have Stuart Toffs with us from Lemon Hive, who has a much broader experience beyond just WordPress, because I think that's important for you as a community to hear that. So I'm not going to talk for too much longer, but the team are going to start talking about the headless ecosystem. I'm going to briefly talk you through what that looks like as some headline stats. And then Max will talk you through the differences between traditional websites and headless structures. And then we'll delve into speed, performance, and security. So first of all, I think it's really important to understand is that headless isn't particularly new. It's been around for a little while, and there are a number of new coming products entering the market on a monthly basis. And this cloud of logos that you see on the right or left has some probably familiar brands in there for you that are what we describe as traditional CMSs, but also some new ones, right? So really, Max will talk you through the detail of that, but it's a well-established and trusted method of building digital experiences, whether that be a website, e-commerce, or an application. Right now, the stats, if you collect it globally across the internet, will say it's just under 5% of websites out there are headless, but expected to grow to around about 30% by the end of 2028. So it's a significant growth point and change point for your clients and you potentially as an agency. And really from our focus around WordPress, with 43% of all websites out there being WordPress, then the importance of using the right stack to execute headless in its variants that you can use is really important. So I'm going to pass over to Max to talk to you through some of the architecture and key product pieces.
Hey, I'm Max, and I'm a head of product at SiteBox, and I promise that won't be like a too technical presentation today. So before we delve into headless approach, headless architecture, it would be good to explain what is really monolithic. So like a completely different and opposite from headless. So basically, monolithic website architecture is something we used to utilize pretty much heavily in the past, and that's a classic WordPress approach, I would say, when all of the components of the websites are basically being put into a single big bucket, and this bucket is represented on the right hand side, which is basically a website. And as you can see, it consists of multiple components, like, for example, the dashboard, when you can manage your content, the database, some scheduled jobs, also like a computing and all of that heavy processing that happens behind the scenes. We've got also obviously like pages, posts, media assets, and functionalities of your website, which pretty much describe all of the assets, all of the elements of the website. It's I organized that in a specific way, and probably that makes a lot of sense when the line appeared, because it obviously makes some sense to separate the underlying functionalities of the website, which are not usually exposed to your visitors, from that visitor-facing ones. So when we put that line in between, we basically can split the big application into two chunks. And basically, what does it mean? Well, it means that we just invented headless architecture. So instead of having like a big bucket with all of the functionalities, we've got a backend experience, front-end experience, and these are technically two separate applications, but they are obviously connecting with each other in secure channels, just to make sure that all of the backend experiences are actually revealed in frontend. So effectively, we created like two different apps, and basically, why would we do that? Why would we choose headless over classic monolithic approach? So basically, usually in the WordPress world, we are struggling as an agency or a company. We are struggling with different issues like the performance. We probably know that lots of WordPress websites are quite slow. There are some security concerns. Probably some of you experience actually some security events that I believe were addressed, but it would be best if they could be avoided at all costs. You probably struggled with some scalability problems during some peaks of traffic. You expected some downtime. Your website wasn't replying at the proper moment. So there is like different problems that modern companies, modern agencies are struggling, and headless became an umbrella term that explains variety of techniques that's helping to address these concerns. And we can carry on to the next slide. So basically, headless, as a result, brings significant benefits to your organization. Basically, it makes your websites performing much faster, and obviously faster loading times, improving user experiences means better conversions. In the headless approach, the websites are usually more secure because of that isolation of the backend, which I mentioned in the beginning of my talk. So it makes your website more secure, more robust, and basically you can avoid some of the dangers, some of the problems that you'd experience in the monolithic approach. It is also way easier to scale. You've got ways to scale from 100 to millions in no time. Basically, you don't have to even announce to the hosting provider, for example, that you will be incorporating huge traffic. You can basically make that happen. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the explanation of the headless. So yeah,
thanks, Max. So as we start to delve further into the headless experience, I think there's, certainly me personally being an ex-agency owner, I know the importance of kind of design user experience and SEO and how that really ties in. So what we're going to look at over the next few slides with the wider team is how do you go about making sure everyone knows what the impact is of going headless, right, and how that supports your team. So I'm going to hand over to actually Stuart Toffs to kind of talk us through the first couple of points and first-hand experience of what it's like to build with headless.
Hi there. Yeah, so thanks, Rich. And so we've been in software development and web builds for quite some time, and Headless sort of fitted us from the fact that we had a lot of experience with software. It's becoming easier and easier over time. And to start off, what you get from Headless are a number of benefits. And with that decoupled system and less reliance on the CMS pushing things into the front end, you end up with things like design freedom. So all of a sudden, when you're trying to do more complex things in the front end on the website, it's easier. It's easier for a developer to push things into that front end, whether it's extra features, interactions, those sort of things, the things that you really want from your brand that reflects your brand better in that design of the front, in the design in the front end. So that can really help. You've got best of breed tech to do it with, things like Next, Vue, even into Astro, again, helping you really align your web experiences with what your customers are expecting, or what you want your customers to have. And that goes into the UX, where you've got, the ability to improve transitions. When you look at things like Google page speed, obviously we're looking at numbers probably a bit too much rather than the actual user experience, where, with smooth transitions, with the ability to take people through a journey that aligns with that journey you want to take them through in a way that really does feel that much better, is the other things that you can do with Headless. And that comes in as well with integrations, again, because obviously what we're talking about with Headless is APIs connecting a number of things. Not only have we got a content management system and a front end, we can then bring in other functionality, other systems that you might use, or other systems that you might want to use. And again, the user experiences can be much, much smoother through doing that. So again, we've got systems, we've got the ability to do more. And then obviously SEO, which is a bit of my background as well, but we've got the ability to do slightly more with SEO. We've said SEO is easier. I mean, this is reliant on having a good development partner. It can be easier if you've got it all set up properly. You can have systems in place. You can do things like auto applying self-referencing canonical tags in your whole site with a box that enables you to overwrite it, or things like schema markup, again, you can apply. So it takes SEO to sort of level up, where you can think strategically about it, and then that can flow into the editor experience, which can be much, much better. And again, through things like accessibility that are going to become more and more important as we go through. There's a European Act that's coming out. So if you sell into the EU, web accessibility is going to be vital as of middle of next year, I think. But all of these things add up to just, better user experience, better modern user experiences. And then if you move it on to, what do we do in development that's slightly different? Well, I think, if we look through a software development process, we've got a discovery phase. We've got a discovery phase that becomes so much more important to really understand what you're building. And then instead of maybe adopting something like a waterfall approach, we need to look at agile. We need to look at being able to adapt as we go through the process, to learn to adapt. And those are the sort of changes. Obviously, we're dealing with different tech. From a front end point of view, we're dealing with the likes of Next, and Astro, possibly Svelte kits, and into Remix for Shopify. Again, technologies that are not unfamiliar, but slightly outside the standard sort of WordPress front end knowledge base. And for back ends, again, we've got the standard WordPress or a few others that you might need to manipulate a little bit with coding knowledge of Node or those sort of languages. It's not difficult, but again, we shouldn't go into it naively thinking that, that it's a very easy transition. It just needs a little bit of time, a little bit of learning, and a little bit of studying. And then, as we move on to things like manageability of Headless, I think there's been a lot of bad Headless builds that we've seen that we've had to correct for other people. I think that's starting to change now. And as we see it changing, we're seeing better internal user experiences, better content management experiences. Again, by taking those two elements apart, the front end and the content management system, in simplest terms, you end up being able to make content management a much, much better experience. Storytelling, content modeling, even as far as website structure, again, has massive advantages in there. And as well, with that decoupled approach, you get a really, really future-friendly system where if you wanted to change a content management system, the front end can remain. If you wanted to change a front end tech from a Next to an Astro, again, you can leave the content management system. If you wanted to build an app, you can tap into that same content that exists already. And again, a single source of truth can make it much, much easier to launch an app and to manage that moving forward. So that kind of summarizes a lot of what we found through our experience, but hopefully helpful.
Having all of that said, well, it might overwhelm for a little bit, but headless can be a little bit easier, and we'll explain that these are leading incorporations of headless architecture. So first of which is like hybrid headless. That's basically converting the existing website in SiteBox, at least is built in WordPress, and you can convert that into a headless website. So you'll decouple the backend layer from the frontend layer, and the frontend would be served separately. So that's kind of like an automatic conversion of the existing website with having all of that headless benefits like performance, security, and scalability. It's like a perfect solution for existing websites or websites that we simply want to get like all of the benefits of the headless approach with minimum or zero efforts. Basically, in SiteBox, you can achieve that by just switching one switch, changing one switch. So the other approach, like more robust, is a native headless. So this is something like when you can connect different different CMSs. Usually that's WordPress in our case, but you can also connect some third-party data sources with custom front-end frameworks like mentioned Astro, Gatsby, or Next.js. That's usually opinionated approach, and that's usually for a bigger website or for website with specified targets, predefined targets, to usually resolving some more complex cases. So these are two products that you should be interested in if you are interested in headless, basically. So this is like a side thing a little bit, but we were being asked a lot about whether the headless can work smoothly with the AI, because obviously that relies on some third-party providers, that relies on some dynamic data, and we can assure that lots of our customers where you are utilizing the AI in their products. The most common cases are intelligent search, which is like empowering the search functionality for more than 60% of our hybrid headless websites in SiteBox. Obviously, the AI search helps to understand the context and user intent. It allows to communicate with machines in a more human language. We've seen other implementations such as smart A/B testing, when AI continues to test and optimizes content based on the outcome of the previous A/B tests. And obviously automated content generation. There are like a lot of different providers and plugins and extensions that basically resolving that case for you, and it works pretty well with the headless architecture. So we can just assure that that's going to work.
Cool. Thanks, Max. Thanks, Stuart. I think that kind of gives you a good summary of kind of some of the approaches that are working actively within agencies, and as we get clients onboarded, certainly onto our platform from a headless perspective. So I'm going to hand over to Kasia and Paul in a second. They're going to really focus on what does that operating model look like as you're using headless. What do you need to maybe change or train your team to do differently than maybe they do right now if they're not using Headless. And I think a really important factor is that as you embrace a new technology, how can it make for a better commercial outcome? Can you make money out of it? And you know, how do you build a strategy around that? Because there's investment in moving into a new product. And as Max just described, some products are very quick to get going, and others take longer when you're focused on the different headless products in the market. So I'll hand over to Kasia and Paul, and they can take it from here.
Yeah, thanks, Rich, and hi, everyone. So you have just heard about the benefits of hybrid headless and the native headless solution from the technological perspective, from the design, UI and UX perspective. And I would like to walk you through the advantages of both solutions from the perspective of a non-technical person who is more focused on operations and the whole process management. So definitely both approaches offer significant benefits, but we are here today on this webinar just to help you choose the one that actually best fits your agency. So the hybrid headless approach is really good for the agencies who are looking to enhance their existing WordPress sites without diving into a full rebuild. So you can think of hybrid headless from the process perspective as a simple BAU stuff, where this process can leverage your existing setup, making it a seamless transition. So you just convert the WordPress site into static headless, just like Mike said, and you can achieve remarkable results. It's just like a 5-minute process when we are enabling a few switches in our SiteBox dashboard. So definitely that's a quick win for all the agencies who definitely want to try with the headless approach. And if you are short on resources, tools, or time to go fully headless, this solution will definitely offer you a rapid boost to your website speed and efficiency with such a minimal effort. So it's definitely a straightforward process that delivers results very quickly. And one of the biggest advantages is that you don't need a team of specialists. The only thing you need is just a standard WordPress knowledge and some training on our SiteBox dashboard, where you can implement these changes effectively. So this makes it a cost-effective option that is definitely accessible to your current teams. You don't need to think about recruiting other people. If you've got a standard WordPress knowledge developers, they will be able to handle that with our help. In terms of headless, native headless approach, so this is ideal for the solution for the agencies which are ready to take a strategic leap forward. So going headless involves comprehensive planning and execution, and it's more like a strategic shift that can definitely transform how you build and manage your digital experiences. So in terms of the process, it's a little bit more complex that in comparison to hybrid, because this approach starts with a detailed analysis and planning phase. So just like Stuart said, there might be an agile methodology used here when we'll help you go into different phases. So we will definitely work together to help you determine the best practices and technology stack for your specific need. And yeah, it is a thorough process, but definitely the outcome that you will get is highly customized and scalable solutions. So that will definitely benefit for you in the future. And in this case, for a pure headless project, you need to think about resources, because having proficiency in modern front-end frameworks, as well as the knowledge with API backend integrations, this is essential. So this does require some higher skill set, but the flexibility and power you gain are definitely worth the investment. So you can think about, before you go headless, if you do have enough resources, people who are skilled enough just to take on that approach. So whether you are looking for a quick enhancement with our hybrid headless, or you are ready to dive into a full headless transformation, remember that we are here to guide you every step of the way. So right now, here are some quick wins that we definitely want to make sure that your team is equipped with. So Paul will walk you in a second how the whole migration might look like, but we know that migrations can be daunting, but with our support, we can assure you that the process is going to be smooth and hassle-free, because our team will handle the heavy lifting shift, which will allow you to focus on what you do best and your business as usual stuff. So you don't need to worry about anything. At the same time, we are going to offer you a dedicated customer success manager who will be your main point of contact. So you can reach out to that person anytime and with literally anything. So that person will guide you throughout the whole migration steps. We will also give you the dedicated support team who will be always ready to assist you. So whether you are facing technical challenges or you need guidance on best practice, we are here to help you every step of the way. You will also be you will also get a comprehensive documentation and some video tutorials at our SiteBox document hub. So those resources are designed to help your team quickly get up to speed and find solutions to common issues. How this might benefit your agency from the strategic perspective is that think of a SiteBox as your partner. So you are not only getting a service provider, you are gaining a strategic partner who is committed to your growth. So we align our success with yours. And one of the foundation of SiteBox is that when we were designing that, we had the future in mind. So by adapting to headless approach, we want to make sure that your digital presence is going to be flexible, scalable, and ready to adapt to future technological changes, which we all know is changing very rapidly because I think we all live in a tech world. So you don't need to worry about that. We accommodate our platform to future changes. And last but not least, we are going to provide you the extensive training on how to use SiteBox dashboard. So the training will be aimed to empower your team how to leverage all the SiteBox features and how to maximize that platform just to help you speed up with the whole process and your simple things that you need to do. So yeah, our commitment is to support you through every phase. We just want to ensure that your transitions and ongoing operations are successful. So Paul, I will hand over to you.
Thanks, Kasia. So point 3, hi everyone. How can you generate more revenue from embracing headless product strategy with your clients? So it's a great question. And I guess this is how we would help you as agencies on our partner program. There's 3 key areas, right? The first being that we can help you win more business. Second is generating recurring revenue, so not just having the services being generated from the delivery of your solutions. And then lastly, delivering operational efficiency. So those are the 3 core areas. So, you know, with selling more services, new technology, so having, whether it's hybrid headless or headless, you can approach your existing clients or obviously new prospects with this new technology that's available. We will assist you in supporting the pitch process. So myself, Kasia, the team, Max, from a technical perspective, we will be on hand to be able to help you get those deals over the line and win more business. And there's also a partner program. So with regards to referrals, so whether you take hybrid as a quick, efficient, tactical solution versus the longer term strategic avenue. If you win a long-term strategic headless solution, but you don't have the depth of resources available, we do obviously have agencies within our partner program that can assist you as well. Right, so it's all about referrals to the strengths of each agency. Each agency under the program gets the benefits of the second column here, which is how we can increase or create a revenue stream, a recurring revenue stream of that, not just services. We will do all the migrations for free. So any of your traditional WordPress websites that you have that are hosted, we will migrate those across for free. We will do audits and analysis on those. We'll also offer you a hybrid headless extension for free as well on those websites. That gives you the ability to go back to your client and drastically improve their speed, performance, security. And those 2 points lead into you acquiring 20% margin in perpetuity. So for all the contracts and agreements that are in place with the websites that you migrate across to SiteBox, you get 20% of that cost in perpetuity year on year, as long as that contract is in play. As Kasia has alluded to in the training of the dashboard, when we streamline the web operations, the support is a white glove service. We're on hand to be able to assist you, train you, educate you on how best to streamline and create that operational efficiency. That dashboard is a bird's eye view, so it's a centralized view of all of your instances, all of your websites, governed and controlled by users and permissions. And our engineers that are world-class will be able to assist you in setting that up to be able to help you control and configure and maintain that operational efficiency. And as Kasia alluded to previously, a CSM is dedicated, right? So a customer success manager is there on hand to be able to support you with any questions that you may have, to be able to guide you through whether you need technical support or from an agency partner perspective, from myself, to assist you on a pitch. She can be, or they can be the dedicated resource to be able to assist in getting that over the line. I have an agency success story to share with you. So on these points, one of our agencies sold more services. So from Headless, accruing over 1.5 million in net new business in year one. We assisted in the tech and the sales support to close those deals. So they were very happy about that. They were also referred work by other agencies within the network to be able to execute that based on the results of those executions. We increased their annual recurring revenue. And how we did that, we took 50 of their existing clients, we migrated them to free. We offer them free hybrid extensions to those 50 traditional websites. I'd say we're probably about halfway through those transitioning from traditional to hybrid. That's generated over 90,000 in margin from a year one rollout, and it's on track for 150 in margin from a year two. So not small numbers, especially when you consider that's in perpetuity, and that will just increase and accumulate year on year. From a streamlined web operations perspective, we assisted in transferring 8 separated hosting providers globally, and we centralized them into one ecosystem. So within that one dashboard, they have at that bird's eye view over 50 of their clients, which has streamlined how they do operational support for the updating of their WordPress infrastructure, how they update and manage plugin updates and roll those updates out through dev staging and production. The engineers were on hand to be able to make sure that that efficiency from that operational excellence was gained. And we do quarterly health audits with our customer success management team, because obviously new updates are being built, new plugins are released, solutions evolve and tech evolves. So it's all about making sure that your site performance and security is running optimally. So great story to share. I'll pass it back over to Rich.
Thanks, Paul. I think obviously, certainly from my angle of being a previous agency owner, the commercial aspect is always the most exciting part. But I think one of the things that maybe, Paul, that goes unnoticed is actually client satisfaction, that they've got a faster, more secure site. And I think actually that goes a long way to making the agency getting a better reputation with their client around the technology solution, which is good. So 3 takeaways before we head into questions. Hopefully everybody's seen the kind of value that taking a headless solution to a client's web experience could help. And if you're using WordPress, that can take as little as 5 minutes, which is pretty good if you want to offer something to your clients fast and efficient way. The second thing really, hopefully people have seen, is that there's efficiencies to be put in place here as a result of having headless. But also there's a little bit of heavy lift to make sure you've got the right team in place and build out the right processes to ensure you're going to be successful. And finally, as Paul discussed, really, there's a commercial viability to this, which hopefully you as agencies are able to get ahead of the headless curve. That is certainly reaching a point where it's probably going to speed up quite dramatically, where clients are going to be asking you rather than you sharing it with them, which I think is always good to be in the right side of that. So thank you, team, for presenting. And Paul, I think you're just going to close off before we go for questions.
That's great. Yeah, first of all, I'd just like to thank Julian, Helen, and Alfie for setting up this webinar, this joint webinar today with the Network One. Love being part of the network and being a strategic technology partner with you. You, as all the agencies that are within the network, benefit from having access to free development and staging environments. So if you would like to explore that further, please don't hesitate to contact me. My details are below. get in touch, and I will get the technical team to get set up, and we can talk you through all the details and onboarding with no costs involved. Thank you to Stuart for joining as well. Appreciate that, from Lemonheart, one of the agency partners. And thank you to all the guests for joining today. And any questions, we're available to talk you through the details. But we'll have a Q&A now. And if they don't get answered today, we'll be happy to follow up with you over email and arrange follow-on sessions. Over to you, Alfie.
Yeah, thank you all. So we've got one question already from Iggy. If you'd like me to read that out, it's how do WordPress plugins appear on the front end when the headless site is running?
You want to take that one now?
Yeah, I believe that's a question to me. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to answer that. So basically, we cover like multiple integrations out of the box. However, there are some plugins that are heavily working on the dynamic content, which are not the best approach, which wouldn't fit like the headless approach in the best way. We always assume that if the site, the website can be cacheable, is cacheable, it can work with headless approach as well. So sometimes, well, most of the examples that we worked with, they work out of the box without any further changes. However, for some websites, some further development process might be required to basically reflect all of the existing functionalities of the previous website in the new website. However, I strongly recommend to get in touch with Paul, and we will be able to investigate that specific use case more deeply, and we'll get back to you with some detailed answer on the specific use case, rather than just talking about the well, all of the plugins.
Even a demo.
I was just going to add for Iggy, just the plugin, it because of the decoupled nature, plugins, the plugin ecosystem changes a little bit. I think it makes it easier. You're maybe less reliant on certain plugins. You can create functionality yourself, and there's more and more coming through that do work across everything. So there's a sort of little bit to add on top.
Thanks, Stuart. Yeah, great to point that out.
Yeah, asked quite a lot, Alfie, and Paul can probably elaborate on this. Is that when we're speaking to agencies, is you know, how do you work out whether our sites can work on hybrid headless, or how do you know, what's the approach to trying to rebuild a site in headless, right? And that's where, you know, our customer success team help, basically. So, you know, we've been through the learnings, we've been through the grind. You know, 2 years ago, when, you know, headless was a kind of an absolute blip and people were just starting to use it, to know how that works with WordPress. So, you know, the comfort that hopefully we give most of our agencies partners is that all of the people that you see on this call, we were in agencies. We didn't just suddenly decide to be a WordPress hosting company. Spent 20 years, probably about, you know, in the collective team on the call, there's like 100 years of website development and design, right? So took a while to get there, right? So I think this is something that, you know, we can really help partners get through. So if you're sat there going, well, I'm not sure if this is going to be right for us, or this is the right time, if you ask us, we'll help you and show you how quickly you can get there, just by looking at your inventory of sites and what we would do with them if we were sat in your shoes. So that's pretty much the first question we get asked when we sit in a room with an agency.
Yeah, which ties into the commercials about the costs, right? Which is very easy to work out. Once we work out the website inventory, traffic volumes, it's all based on consumption of information from the edge, right, from Cloudflare. So can easily work that cost out, and obviously assist you in the analysis of those websites that you have in that inventory, sort of like a post migration, to see the timelines to turn around from a traditional website into a hybrid approach, and obviously the comparison between the performance of the old versus the new. Any other questions?
And I've got question myself, which might help some of the agencies. A lot of our agencies will obviously be building and creating websites themselves day in, day out for their clients. They're currently hosting elsewhere. How would they sell this to their client quickly if they needed like a quick explanation of how much better it is to transfer over and sell to their clients or upsell this product?
You just basically said it right there, Alfie. It's an upsell opportunity, right? Whether or not there's a cost associated to that, that's up to the agency to define themselves. We are going to do the migration for free, do all the heavy lifting, offer the hybrid headless extension for free as well. So out the box, they're going to get better security on their website. And so from a hacking perspective, DDoS attacks, web application firewalls, running on AWS with Cloudflare Enterprise, secure logins, etc. So that's out the box. They're going to get performance as well. And so obviously page speed loading is going to increase. They're going to have a quicker digital experience. So, you can design the best website looking on the planet, but if it's got a 30-second load speed, you're going to have a very high bounce rate. So it's all about the balance between having the experience and the loading of that experience, which ultimately affects your ranking as well, right? So yeah, it's something that we can assist you to give a better experience to your clients at a very, very low cost point, basically free to start.
Thank you everyone for sharing this information, and thank you all those attendees for joining. This will be shared on YouTube in the coming days, maybe early next week, and from there I'm sure some of the team, maybe Paul, Rich, will be in touch with just an update, sharing this presentation and also sharing notes on the benefits that you'll receive by being members of the Network One.